We saw the recent assembly election results in the Hindi heartland throw up some interesting results. How will the 11th of December impact the southern states going into the 2019 general elections? Joining us to talk about this, senior leader of the Congress party, Madhu Yaskhi Goud, Jayadev Galla, Member of Parliament of the Telugu Desam, Kovai Sathyan is a spokesperson of the ruling AIADMK, Manu Sundaram represents the DMK. Madhu, I want to start by asking you, why do you think your alliance with the TDP flopped so badly in Telangana? The BJP, the TRS say this shows that arithmetic doesn't matter. What matters is chemistry. You can come together, but just the coming together of your parties doesn't mean that you will win.
I don't think it's really totally bad result. If you look at Khammam, we won. The alliance helped us to win maximum seats in Khammam. Other parts didn't do well as we expected, but there are many other reasons. Right from our strategy to planning to the help of Election Commission to the TRS party, deleting 22 lakh votes, in spite of given affidavit in the Supreme Court of India, that every voter will be given a chance to register. Any deleted votes will be accounted and given opportunity to register. That's not happened. And happily, Election Commissioner says, I'm sorry, which is obnoxious and atrocious. So there are many reasons which didn't do well, but that doesn't mean that
you didn't win because the 22 lakh people who didn't vote would have all voted for you and you would have beaten the TRS. I mean, that's a facile argument.
I'm saying that one of the reasons. Though we have alliance at top level, but we didn't have that Atmeya Sammelans which SP and BSP doing it in UP. So we should have done those. For 37 years, Congress and TDP fought against each other. So we met for the first time, the alliance happened, but we didn't take it down to the block level. The cadre didn't
Jayadev Galla, the TDP's roots lie in anti-Congressism. Suddenly you tell your cadre, you tell voters that now we are together, hum saath hai, vote for us. We saw what happened in Telangana. What's the guarantee that this won't happen in 2019?
Well, first of all, 2019 elections are still a few months away. And just to further what Madhu was just talking about, I think, TDP and Congress were against each other for so many years. But Congress, after the 2014, after the bifurcation, became irrelevant in Andhra Pradesh. Therefore, the compulsions for us are very different in Andhra than they were in 2014. Now, if we look at 2019, all of the promises that then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh ji gave in floor of Rajya Sabha, the current Prime Minister, when he was a candidate, made so many promises during the election campaign about special category status and so many other things. And the implementation of the AP Reorganization Act itself is delayed quite a bit. I mean, none of the provisions have been completed in full. The meager allocations that have been given on various heads, it'll take 50 years, 60 years to complete some of these projects. They didn't support us in the construction of Amaravati. They didn't support us in terms of bridging our revenue deficit. They are delaying payments to the major project, Polavaram, that's taking place. So BJP has failed the state more than the Congress has. Today, the people of Andhra Pradesh have seen very clearly that BJP is the real enemy of the state, and we have to defeat the BJP at the center if any of these provisions are going to be fulfilled in the future also. So I think the public is
Your
very
critics
clear.
will say that anti-incumbency is piling up against you. You haven't been able to run Andhra Pradesh the way you promised. And therefore, your alliance with the Congress is an alliance between two weak parties hoping to make up for the anti-incumbency and their lack of ground presence. Otherwise, it's Jagan Reddy and the YSRCP that seems to be drawing the biggest crowds over here.
No, I completely disagree that our performance hasn't been up to par. We've been performing better than any other state in the country on a number of different parameters. Our Chief Minister was just here. He mentioned many of them. I think, whether it's, growth in the farm sector, we've doubled farmers' income in the last 4 years in Andhra Pradesh. All the things that Narendra Modi ji has been promising for the country as a whole has been successful in AP because of good administration and good governance in AP. We've been winning national awards from every department. We're #1 in infrastructure. We're number one in ease of doing business. We're number one in agricultural growth.
So if
we're
you're
number one in GSDP
everything,
growth.
you don't need the Congress in Andhra Pradesh then.
How can you say it's weak, Rahul? We are in the ruling party in Andhra Pradesh. We want just 3 states in northern India.
No, I'm
No,
talking
the-
about
so
Andhra
it's not
Pradesh
a weak
specifically.
partners.
I'm saying that if the
The
TDP has done
relationship-
such a fabulous job and you're number one everywhere, you don't need
No,
Madhu's
the
party.
relationship with Congress is not to perform in Andhra Pradesh. The relationship with Congress is, as our Chief Minister was saying, it's a democratic compulsion to change the direction the country is going. Today we're seeing a government at the center that's an authoritarian government. It's not meeting its commitments to the people. It's spying on its own people. It's playing all types of Machiavellian politics. It's a Machiavellian government. And I don't think that the nation deserves that. And our history, if we look at the history of India, we don't deserve this type of Machiavellian
But the
government.
problem, Madhu, is that you're not gaining ground in any of the southern states. For example, if you won in 3 heartland states, if you come down, the Congress really needs to do better than it did earlier to be able to give Prime Minister Modi and the BJP a real run for its money.
How can you say we've just won in Karnataka, the recent by-elections
I'm talking
in
about
Ballari.
Telangana.
No, Telangana, we didn't do well, but that may not be the case for parliament elections. No, at the end of what TRS campaign, assembly को हमें दे दीजिए, parliament को कांग्रेस को दे दीजिए. The minority plays over 10% vote in the Telangana. Secondly, the police, how they utilize the police. You see the recent, your own TV also showing how the poll counted votes more than the polled votes. There's so much discrepancies, that is one. Police is distributing money to the voter. Money transferred in ambulance vans. There's so much of other corruption.
No, but the reality also, Madhu, is that when you speak to voters in Telangana, they tell you that for 4.5 years, the Congress was missing in action in the state. You didn't do very much. You didn't build local leadership the way you managed to build, say, a Sachin Pilot in Rajasthan. You didn't have those strong people on the ground in Telangana. And for example, in a moment, we'll go to Tamil Nadu as well, where the problem is the same. The BJP is growing into states like Tripura, into states like Assam, where it didn't exist previously or it wasn't strong previously. And the Congress isn't being able to do the same. And you're losing states like Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, where you were earlier very formidable and suddenly don't have leaders of great stature.
Partly agree with you. Telangana we should have done instead of bus yatras, padayatras. When you're in opposition, you need to be on the ground. So there are certain mistakes done by our own party, which we to correct.
No, but you come from Nizamabad.
Yes, we should correct those and we will go on that.
No, but you're supposed to correct this before the election, not after the election.
I've done, in Nizamabad also we did a padayatra for sugarcane farmers where the only sugar factory owned by the government is shut and a private owned sugar factory is running. So there's so much of, that's corruption is a separate part. But we should have done much more, much before the elections scheduled. The early declaration of elections, which is also seeing the sense of people's anger, even for an early poll.
He just won virtually all the seats in the assembly.
Understanding from the BJP and Election Commission, how could an Election Commission announce, they take literally 6 months. Within 2 months, they promise that every vote will be counted and taken into account, but not done. So it's an indirect
Madhu,
support.
you're sounding like a very bad loser. You know, for a party that got as badly decimated as yours did in Telangana,
Rahul, let me remind, even
you're making it seem as if it was a
let me
really
remind
tight
in
election
Tamil
and you lost
Nadu
by a
within-
couple of hundred votes.
There are instances where assembly lost and within 6 months it's turned around. When it comes to Lok Sabha, there's a different results. We'll assure you that in Telangana also you can see a different results if it comes to Lok Sabha elections. Coming to Tamil Nadu, we are good association with the DMK and DMK is formidable
So what
force
is
that will
Manu
win.
Sundaram?
So overall, assumption of Congress is not doing well in southern states is not correct.
No,
BJP
but
is not
look at
there.
what you're saying. You're saying that DMK is a formidable force. Where is the Congress in Tamil Nadu? Last time, it can be argued that the DMK lost because of you. If they'd given you fewer seats, the DMK could have probably been in power. They gave you too many states. That's why poor Stalin is not chief minister.
Congress is a critical support for either DMK to AIADMK to form. So DMK to come to power, Congress is a critical force even in Tamil Nadu. Now it comes to Karnataka, you have seen in spite of BJP emerging single largest, we have done fairly well. We retained the seat from the BJP in Ballari after 15 years. And Shimoga, the margin has come down to just 50,000, where Yedurappa itself comes from that own state and his own son contesting. So we are going to expect it to very well there. And Telangana, we hope to improve. And Kerala, we are doing better. So southern states, BJP is not there. Out of 130, last time they got 21 seats. So BJP is nowhere there. So it's arithmetic. It's not just arithmetic, but as you said in the beginning, the chemistry, the connectivity. The BJP lost that connectivity from the people. They talk about new India. We talk about one India where everyone is included.
Manu Sundaram, what is Stalin thinking when he says Rahul Gandhi is his man for Prime Minister?
He's thinking that Mr. Rahul Gandhi would be a good choice to lead the country in the direction that we set ourselves to, in the sense that the last 4.5 years we have seen a government that has crushed pretty much every constitutional value. It is a government that has been anti-federal. It's a government that has practiced fiscal terrorism. It's a government that has prioritized cows over men and women. So it is our hope, and you know, we are strong believers that Mr. Modi and his party have not provided the right sort of policy and
No, but the
governance
DMK
structure.
has swung both ways in the past.
Certainly.
Why is it that this time you're rooting for Rahul Gandhi? The likes of the Samajwadi Party, the BSP, the TDP, the TMC are saying we will decide after the elections what will happen. Stalin is the only leader of any great consequence to have come out and openly rooted for Rahul Gandhi. What's the thinking behind that?
Well, you know, it's not very long to go. There is about 4 or 5 months to go for an election, and I think this is the right time for us to not just think about an alternative policy platform, but also the kind of person or a personality who will lead that alternative policy platform. Now, it is for each of the parties, be it the TDP or the Trinamool or the Samajwadi, to decide who should be. But of course, in a parliamentary system, a prime minister will only be chosen after the members of parliament are elected. So we know that. But we believe, from Tamil Nadu's perspective, from the Dravida Munnetra Kalagam's perspective, that Mr. Rahul Gandhi offers the kind of policy perspectives that Mr. Modi has perhaps not really carried out very well, and
Does
perhaps
that not
he's
limit
ignored.
the DMK's choices and chances after the elections? You are right now the most formidable party in Tamil Nadu. All the polls put you way past the ruling government. The ruling government is terribly unpopular. The question is, if you had won the seats that you had, you could have been on whichever side was the winning party nationally.
You know, if we had a rupee for every time that was said, you know, we would be very rich men and women now. But see, the calculations there are also quite different, Rahul. As you know, that state voted for a legislative assembly and as chief minister in that calculation. And, you know, whether our arithmetics, you know, let us down in that particular seat sharing alliance is something that we can be debating as till the pollsters come home. But I think what
the
is
pollsters
clear,
are already home, the results are over. Do you think the Congress adds value to the DMK, or they're just there notionally?
of course, the Congress adds great value to the DMK because the Congress is, in our opinion, the most viable national alternative to the Bharatiya Janata Party. It's one party that at least today offers some sort of consideration towards what constitutional principles that you and me hold dear. For example, your fundamental right to privacy. We've seen what's happening in the recent past with the agencies being given superpowers to snoop. It also holds dear the principles of federalism, which we have, it's been a long time since, I don't think any regional party today, with any self-respecting regional party would side with the BJP just because of the kind of fiscal terrorism policies that the 15th Finance Commission has been guilty of. But more importantly, we believe Rahul Gandhi is a good candidate, and we believe that more parties may come on board. We just think that we've perhaps seen it before others.
Kovai Sathyan, you have the unenviable task of defending one of the worst governments in the country. The AIADMK government's performance, according to the political stock exchange data by India Today and Access My India, shows that your government is more unpopular than the Vasundhara Raje government in Rajasthan, which just got voted out. If elections were held today, the AIADMK would be completely routed and decimated.
It's basically a perception game, Rahul. Probably your survey, which recently got concluded, might give you a result. But if I put somebody else on the board to do a survey, the result might be surprising.
But ours is the only survey which comes out to be correct, so please believe our survey.
People perception keep changing. You might say that the unassailable leader for tomorrow is Mr. Rahul Gandhi, wherein the same coalition people who wants to fight the election together have difference of opinion. So perception keeps changing. We cannot count on that perception every time. Now, to throw a light on your topic on saying that who will break the southern bastion, I would like to lay an emphasis on the overall scenario, what is prevailing in South and how important it is. Because now everybody talking specific to their states. Now if you put together at 20 from Kerala, 40 from Tamil Nadu, 48 from Maharashtra, 21 from Orissa, 28 from Karnataka, and 42 from Telangana, Andhra, together 201 seats, including the UT. Now, I don't see either the BJP or the Congress is talking with pride that we'll form the next government with majority. Everybody says that we might fall short of 80 or 90 numbers or 100 numbers. Now look at this 90 numbers or 80 numbers, who is going to bridge it when the South has got about 201 seats? So that's the role of regional party players is going to play in the next forthcoming 2019 election. If you want to go to the arithmetic, again, this Congress backed 21 seats out of the entire 201, 10% market share. And BJP was at 43. Now, if they really dream about forming a government and trying to take the numbers, the Congress has to, in a professional language, they have to probably increase 500% of their effort. And BJP has to be at 150%. So that's the reason why, even today morning, when the Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, was saying that, no, let's not talk about who is going to be the prime ministerial candidate. Let's talk our numbers once the elections are over. So having these kind of uncertainties, and still we have 5 months ahead, I would assure you that the kind of researches what comes out may be surprising for the people in the media spectrum. But as far as the state of Tamil Nadu is concerned, it is progressing. We at a 220 billion SDP is by far the largest in South. And I would say that the kind of awards and recognitions we are receiving for the work which we continued, which we have been carrying on for long time. Tourism Ministry back the award. Niti Aayog released about social development and where we topped it. MNREGA, you want to talk about who is the best implementation of MNREGA in India, it's Tamil Nadu. So that shows the kind of effort that has gone into keeping aside the political noises that has emerged out of our demise of our leader, great leader, Amma. And I'll tell you one thing, no, I think people wouldn't have forgotten when the entire nation was talking about Narendra Modi's wave in 2014, we are the only state which said whether it is Modi or Lady. And we proved it. So time and again we have bounced back. This is an organization.
But the big difference then was that you had Jayalalitha, now you don't. And there is no comparison between the two situations. Why are you so desperately playing footsie with the BJP?
We don't. The point here is, the turbulence is what Tamil Nadu has witnessed is by far the largest. 31,000 plus agitations in a span of say 2 years. And everybody wants to see this government to go because they feel that the numbers game are wrong. But everything has happened as per the constitution. There is nothing that happened without the constitution. And it is the role of the principal opposition to ensure that people are made to believe that this government needs to go. And yes, as any other principal opposition parties, there are allegations. There are allegations keep coming in. And we welcome those critics and allegations with open heart, and we are here to prove it that they are wrong. So whenever there is a state right which is at stake, we are the first guy to stand up and say, please don't meddle with my state rights. When the 125-year-old battle of Kaveri dispute was fought over and we won it legally, and when it was not implemented, we as the state as the first one to stand up and say that filed a contempt.
So is it correct that at this time the BJP through back channel means is trying to ensure an alliance between, a merger between the TTV Dinakaran faction and what is left of the AIADMK?
Now, I'll give you my data, Rahul. Everybody talks about TTV and he's going to split the votes. And our research says that our vote bank and our cadres have remained intact. You can't see anybody migrating from Anna Dravida Munnetra Kalagam to any other faction in the last 2 years. The true loyalist remains with us. Now, to answer your question in another way, the last election, parliamentary election, gave about 1 crore and 79 lakh of votes, wherein BJP per se had about 2.2 million votes, 22 lakhs of votes. If you ask about my opposition, they had about 97 lakhs of votes. Now we want to see the perception is going to swing everything to the opposition, or the perception is going to rout AIADMK. I don't buy that point. Because people are now enlightened with the fact that we have fought what the state rights has to be. We have fought for the development.
Till the time the results come out, you don't have to buy that point. I want to ask, since we've got leaders from Telangana, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu here, which state is more corrupt when it comes to elections? Where do you bribe voters more? In Andhra Pradesh or in Tamil Nadu?
I'll say undoubtedly Telangana.
Telangana.
The maximum. They bribed 15 to 20 crores on each constituency. The worst part is, the police supposed to be arresting the people who are distributing the money, but the TRS has mastered it, bribing the SHO and sub-inspector
You think the TRS paid more than the AIADMK did in RK Nagar?
No, they paid the SHO and the sub-inspector, not just using the government power, but they bribed them to distribute the money to the voter.
And what about you?
From 8 to 10,000.
What about the Congress?
No, Congress hardly have any money. We hardly gave any money to the candidates. So it's the kind of money which they distributed, the kind of hoardings you have seen, the kind of money they've spent, it's like mind-boggling.
Kovai Sathyan, RK Nagar was more corrupt, Tamil Nadu was more corrupt, or Telangana was more corrupt?
RK Nagar has a different, I don't know how many people will know what RK Nagar stands for. It was a by-election, wherein after the demise of Amma happened, it had a unique distinction of taking the name of Hawala, because 20 rupee notes were given and probably they were promised 20K after they poll their votes. So that's the reason why the ruling party nor the opposition could win in that elections. So that's a camouflage. That's a novel idea of corruption. So I would never take that as a benchmark for your question. To answer your question, whatever the permissible limits being given by the Election Commission, I think that is complied with the majority parts of the Tamil Nadu when it comes to election.
That's a stand-up joke you just cracked sitting down. You actually believe that anybody sitting in the audience will believe that the AIADMK and the DMK spend as per EC norms, which in some states is as little as 70 lakh.
Rahul, let's understand and appreciate it is the same audience who believe the Election Commission says that, yes, I have received the income and expenditure statement of the candidate, it's well within the norms. We live in the same system and we agree to the same system norms.
So if you're believing a Neta when he lies about how much assets he has, also believe him when he lies about how much money he's spending. That's your argument.
When you want to believe that the Neta always lies, then what you say is maybe good. What you say may be good.
They don't?
If you give the credit that Neta sometimes tells the truth, then that's a different ballgame altogether, right?
Okay, tell me, Mr. Galla. Andhra Pradesh requires you to spend more money, Telangana or Tamil Nadu?
See, wherever this practice started originally, it's spreading to all the states. I think in South India, barring Kerala, it's infected all the states. West, it's happening in West, it's happening in North, it's happening in East.
This is a more honest answer than the one that you gave. What you gave was a very facile, meaningless answer. This is a more consequential answer.
So trying to compare one to the other makes no sense. It's a trend that is spreading throughout the country. And it's spreading throughout the country because the corruption is a major problem, not only in political class, in every sphere of life. I mean, you take any profession today, whether it's journalism or whether it's judiciary or whether it's doctors or lawyers or teachers or any profession, there's corruption today. Public is corrupt today. So as long as the public is corrupt, I don't think the system is going to change. There has to be a change in the social environment before it happens in the political environment.
You're saying public is corrupt, Netas want to corrupt the public even further. As a thinking politician, what do you believe is the solution? Because we've got a big election coming.
So the solution is that middle class has to vote. Today, middle class is not voting in India. Until middle class starts to vote, this will continue.
I don't buy that because it's mostly the poor who you're trying to corrupt, Madhu. And don't
They're the most susceptible. They're the most susceptible.
But don't sit over there and say the Congress doesn't do it because nobody's going to believe it.
I'm not denying that any party is doing or not doing it. I'm saying it's a trend that's happening across the board, across the country, across professions. And civil society has to change. Civil society has to force that change to happen. And for that to happen, middle class has to start voting.
The electoral reforms has to come, Rahul, like what we have seen in the US. And here, unless a state funding, you are making every lawmaker to lie on the affidavit from the day one. You have to sign an affidavit that we're spending only 25 lakhs, which is, you're seeing it, how much money each
the AIADMK wants us to believe that's true.
Well, it's,
that's how much they're spending.
I know the whole, the gentleman sitting here.
Sorry, that's what I said. It is the same forum which has agreed towards saying that.
But you talk about Netas being believable and credible when you make such unbelievable, patently false suggestions and statements, you realize nobody will believe you. That's also part of the reason why the AIADMK has lost so much credibility in the state.
That's what to answer your question. You want to complete your answer or?
I mean, let me quickly complete it here. It's not just the poor who's taking money and voting. The educated, working class, postal ballot, they'll ask how much money you're giving. They'll give the ballot paper to the candidate and the ticket. So we just can't blame the poor is corrupt. That's not true. And secondly, as Jay said, It's every section, including the media also. My last election, they gave me 75 lakhs quote. They be taking from every candidate, and they're writing the stories like each candidate is आगे बढ़ रहा है, जीत रहा है, ये block में आगे है. So, but that they be writing with the other candidates also. So if you don't pay the money, then they will write the stories in the newspaper that we are. It's like I used to say, either you. Some people may be demanding money by gunpoint, but either some journalist at local level demanding by putting pen, saying that if you don't pay the money, we will do this. So it's every section.
No, and this is disturbing, which is why I'm glad we're having a frank conversation, because such responses are far more meaningful and consequential than the response we got from the AIADMK spokesperson. Because if there is money being spent outside of what is legitimate, it needs to be put an end to. And whether this happens in journalism, whether this happens with voters, wherever it happens, we need to work together as a society, as a country to stop it. The DMK is also known to spend. In RK Nagar, it's not like you were only going out and meeting voters and shaking their hands.
Well, I don't think any party can claim to be holier than thou, and we certainly don't. But I think the problem also needs to be understood in its full entirety. The fact is that people have lost faith in institutions of governance. So the reason that they are more willing to take money on polling day or just around election day is because they feel like the next 5 years I'm not going to get anything, so I may as well make a quick buck now. And on the other side, on the supply side of the issue, Rahul, you would know this better than me, the amount of money that is coming in as political party funding is obscene. I think the latest data that has been shared by all the national parties and the regional parties is upwards of hundreds of crores. So what do political parties need such high amounts of money for? So where is the political will? And I'm saying this as a member of a political party. The political will needs to be directed to ensure that funding that comes into political parties is audited better. And the current issue of electoral bonds, that's not been sorted out. And these sort of issues are snowballing, which is why I feel that this election, 2019, also will decide what is the idea of India that we want. This sort of corporate funded elections and sort of and a government model that is not suited to the needs of everyday people is what we have seen more and more in the last 4.5 years, which is another reason why we oppose the Bharatiya Janata Party in addition to all other failed policies.
If it were legitimately corporate funded, it will still be okay. Unfortunately, it is corruption funded more than corporate funded.
Corporate rooted, election funded, and that is really the problem. And I think that again goes to say that what the values that you and I hold dear are no longer important, but these sort of what the corporates decide, and that's ultimately what we are seeing in terms of money and people leaving the country. And what's left behind is people like you and me sitting here discussing what is better for the country.
We saw 3 far more honest answers than the ones that you've given, far more believable, far more credible, far more noteworthy. In light of the fact that the other participants were far more honest than you, would you like to change your answer?
Question, can you repeat?
I'm saying your previous answer was patently dishonest and nobody believed it. Given the fact that the 3 other participants gave far more honest and believable answers, do you want to answer that question again?
See, we are talking about a system where everyone is involved. We are here talking about a politician pumping a large amount of quantum of money for votes. On the other side, you have the general public who is accepting this money. If I am being put in a blame of saying that giving money for paying for votes is wrong, then he is equally wrong. No, we are talking about a holistic picture where everybody takes that accountability that this is not to be done. My answer to your question was, is this right
Jayadev
or wrong?
already gave the chicken and egg argument. That we pay them because they are corrupt.
There is a system.
Who made them corrupt? Who gave them the money? Who made them believe that netas give money during elections?
No, that's what I'm saying. If I'm being blamed for giving money, and I would say the person who receives the money from me for the votes is equally liable, right? So we are talking about a holistic picture, holistic development where everybody should understand the need to change this. That's what he mentioned by talking about electoral reforms, right? So if you ask me, will politicians will be interested to talk about electoral reforms, then we can debate more into it.
It's a vicious
circle. There is
something
which is...
you say that we pay them because they want money. Who started it? Obviously, netas offered money, they got used to taking it, and it's continuing, and it will keep getting worse and worse and worse. And netas, once they get elected, will then need to make more money through corrupt means for the next election, so as to be able to pay voters even more money when they go out and campaign the next time.
See, this comes to the basic question of corruption itself. I think it's not just about corruption during elections alone, but corruption in society. And, if you start looking at it, it's in our culture, it's in our religion. I mean, when we go to temples, we pay money to God to grant us favors. It's in our psyche. So it really is a very complicated and
That's
complex
not corruption.
question.
You're not trying to corrupt
You're
God.
paying somebody to get something from them, right? And in this case, you're paying God to grant favors to you, who has power to do that.
Madhu, you work very closely with Rahul Gandhi, and you have been on so many shows where you've been pounded because Rahul Gandhi was called all kinds of names, his track record was rather abysmal. As a congressman, are you delighted with the fact that at least this time he's won in the heartland, and does that give you extra confidence when you go to Nizamabad, for example, in Telangana, or travel anywhere in the south or the rest of the country, that your man is not what the BJP makes him out to be?
I always believed in his leadership. I closely worked with him as a member parliament with him. I know what he is, but it has been projected by an army of 1,000 people sitting in Ahmedabad, paid social media cynics of BJP, trying to damage his credibility, his image, and ridiculing him. But if you look at his answer, he said it when he went to Berkeley, we traveled with him. So he always believed what he was doing it. He never pretended. So obviously, we're very happy to see that the result in the last three states in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Chhattisgarh. It does, as I said, like why we can improve in Telangana, because the people also seeing through the Congress is going to come back in 2019, and there's a trouble alliance in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar.
But there is a difference, Madhu. The difference is that Rahul Gandhi clearly has become a better political manager than he was. He ensured in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan all the warring factions worked together, and then even when it came to the question of who should be chief minister, he was able to ensure a proper decision was taken. However, unlike Narendra Modi, who by his very presence can electrify audiences and can win extra votes and seats for his party, Rahul Gandhi still isn't much of a pinch hitter. You can't send him to Nizamabad and say, Madhu's ticket is in trouble, help him. He may not necessarily be able to deliver the same way that Modi can.
That was the past. In the last 5 state elections, 78% of the meetings where Narendra Modi held, they've lost. So the so-called magic of Modi is waning. Now the new slogan is, Desh ke achhe din aane wala hai, Modi ji jaane wala hai. So that is the slogan is going to come up. So it's a look at the formidable alliance we're going to form in Uttar Pradesh, SP, BSP and Congress.
Kovai Sathyan, do you think Modi's magic is waning?
Wipe out clearly.
In 2014, when everybody talked about his wave, I think our party proved it wrong. Now we are in no position to judge what the national party's interests are. We are more interested about what the national party's agenda in sync with our state agenda. So I would say that
it's a pretty simple question. You're a political animal. Nationally, does the AIADMK believe that the Modi magic is waning? It's a very straight question.
It's like, it's waning day by day. It's waning day by day.
In Southern, I can say, the road to 2019 to South Block, Modi is not going through, definitely not passing through the South. That is for sure.
I read a survey recently that showed in the 5 southern states, in all the 5 southern states, that Rahul Gandhi is leading Narendra Modi in terms of who they prefer as Prime Minister.
Where did you see this?
This is one of the surveys in one of the publications.
Our political stock exchange data also suggests the same thing, that when it comes to the question of popularity, Rahul Gandhi is ahead in the southern states. That is correct. But you're hardly existent in Tamil Nadu, for example, Madhu. Here in Andhra Pradesh, obviously the TDP is the bigger partner. You will get a few seats, but you'll get more seats, right? The TDP will get more seats in the Lok Sabha election in Andhra Pradesh? See, he's saying yes, which means you'll get only very few seats. So if everywhere you're compromising, for example, in Kerala and in Tamil Nadu, I don't even need to ask him, the DMK will get way more seats than you will. You'll get a handful of seats.
Well, right now we have 0 to 39 in Tamil Nadu, and Kerala we have 8 seats, so we can do better. But I could see change in you also, Rahul. In Telugu there is saying, Eka namam sada priyam. People who have the same similar name, they have love each other. So you also should support Rahul Gandhi.
No, I support no one.
Right way.
I am, as a journalist, deeply suspicious of all politicians. And therefore,
Hope you do that to Modi and
yeah, I do it to everyone without fear or favor. Everyone I deeply suspect. So there's no question of liking somebody just because he's a namesake.
But you know what the takeaway for us should be, or at least for me, is from this panel, Rahul. And I think it's evident from the fact that there is no BJP member on this.
See, have you seen, Madhu hasn't stopped smiling since he came. You know, these 3 states has given him confidence after so many defeats that the Congress has to suffer. Even if there are some questions which he's finding difficult to answer, even if his party isn't really growing in Tamil Nadu, even if he gets very few seats in Andhra Pradesh, he still has a smug smile. You're already thinking what ministry you're getting in 2019, Madhu?
Same flight. Of course, we are very confident of 2019. And so look at, seeing your smile also, I smile because I'm always smiling and confident. But I could see the change in the national media projection also, taking seriously the Congress party and Rahul Gandhi and the alliances which we're forming.
Not really. In Uttar Pradesh, for example, Mayawati and Akhilesh want to give you 2 seats. You know, if, for example, your bargaining power with the DMK again in Tamil Nadu is very weak, unless the Congress is becoming stronger in states where you've receded from, your bargaining power will be very limited.
Rahul, don't forget in 2009.
Friends don't bargain, Rahul. Friends share, friends talk, friends come to a consensus. There's no need for a bargain. There's no need for arm twisting.
You want to come and hug Madhu right now? Is so much bonding happening? So what happened? You know, I remember the DMK was very upset with the Congress in the build-up to the 2014 campaign. You thought Madhu's party hadn't done enough to save leaders like Kanimori and Raja, who were accused of serious acts of corruption. And you were very disappointed with the Gandhi family and with Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and everybody in the
recent
cabinet.
story, the guy who gave the report.
I know you're friends, but let him answer. He's still DMK, you're still a separate party. One second. So the question is, how did this bonding happen? How did Stalin and Rahul become such great friends?
Well, there's no real secret to it. I mean, you see the direction the country is going in the last 4.5 years. I think that's enough reason for all of us to become best of friends against the BJP on the other camp. And I think that really should be the takeaway. I mean, you've called this session, who will breach the southern bastion? What is a bastion? A bastion is a part of the wall that protects the castle from being invaded or attacked. And the south, the southern 5 or 6 states are the bastion to protect this country and the constitutional values of this country against the BJP from coming and shredding it into pieces. But so it doesn't really matter. It's not a matter of personalities. Everybody here, I think, even my friend from the AIADMK will agree that BJP is not the way this country should be going in 2019.
He's not agreeing. I asked him that question. He dodged it.
Let's put him on the spot.
Do you want to ask him again?
That's what I was trying
to... let me ask you the question so do you know what to answer. Do you believe the BJP is taking the country in the right direction?
See, I'll put it in this way. Every state...
Don't put it in any way. Just answer the question you're being asked.
We being a regional player, we have our agenda in place. We have a state agenda. But when it comes to the national politics, every national party has got their own national agenda. So all we are more interested is whether my state agenda is in sync with the national agenda or his agenda is benefiting me. So for example, you said the same statement.
Is the BJP's agenda benefiting you?
No, it is not. As far as the turn of events in the recent years, it has not benefited. Take for example of the Meghdadu Dam. The DPR was given. The sanction for DPR was given, which we are still fighting in the parliament for that matter. Take for the cyclone disaster, when we are asking for money to be paid to the people for rehabilitation, still we have to fight it out in a long journey. It is not about the recent cyclone. It is the natural calamity which happened way back in 2015. So when there is a state right which is at stake, we stand up and fight, irrespective of whether it is BJP or Congress.
So why is it that when OPS and EPS have fights, they have to go to people outside the party to try and resolve them, and the Prime Minister is reported having told them to work together for the interests of the state?
No, see, we have difference. There's one of our strongest belief of our leader Amma was the party should not go into the hands of a family, right? That's the reason she was very aggressive in criticizing the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, which runs his party as a family business. That's the reason she criticized it. And now we cannot let it happen within our own party. That's the reason why Dharma Yudham was started. Now it went on to the public acknowledged to it, and they were in for it. They said, yes, this is the right way to go about it. Once that problem was sorted out, we merged together and we marched forward. We started marching forward. Now to answer your question, whether it is BJP or Congress, the Tamil Nadu people clearly understand. If Leo Tolstoy were to be alive today, he would have written a book called War and Jallikattu, not War and Peace. And we all know that it is the Congress which which included the bull into the performing animals, which led to our tradition at stake. We couldn't celebrate the Jallikattu. And you would have seen the protests that emerged out of Marina Beach. So we stand up whenever the state rights, whenever the tradition, whenever the societal fabric at stake, we stand up and raise our voice for it. So it doesn't matter whether it is BJP or Congress. For us, what matters is, it is how my citizens, how my people are being treated, how my people are being benefited, and what is upliftment for my people. And today they don't take a call on Meghdadu, we stall the parliament. Because Supreme Court says we cannot intervene in this. And if the Kaveri Management Board says that, no, we don't have a say in it. But we feel it is a betrayal to the Tamil Nadu people, we have to stand for it.
Which is why the AIADMK also incidentally voted for the BJP, along with the BJP in the no confidence motion.
No confidence motion was something way back, months ago. And you call for a no confidence motion knowing that it will not pass through. Right? But still you want to make your point. That's what we are also trying to do. So whenever you want to make a point, you call for a no confidence motion. You are happy that your point is being made there. That's what we are also doing right now.
See, 2019, basically, even more than anti-BJP, is going to be an anti-Narendra Modi, anti-Amit Shah, anti-Ajit Doval regime, basically. This is the regime that has made the country authoritarian. This is the regime that has made it divisive. This is the regime that's made it oppressive. And I think any party that would, any citizen for that matter, who doesn't want to see India continue on this road of Machiavellian, authoritarian, divisive, oppressive regimes,
when I
has
asked
to vote
BJP
against
this
them.
question, why did TDP turn away? They say that they wanted to be corrupt, Modi didn't let them be corrupt, and therefore they walked away.
Tell me today in the NDA, which ally is happy? Is Shiv Sena happy? Is Akali Dal happy? Is Nitish Kumar happy? Are any of the BJP CMs happy? Is RSS happy?
No, so they're saying Modi is honest. He doesn't let allies make money. In previous governments with the Congress, they're used to looting the country. Now Modi is stopping that, which is why allies aren't happy.
The TDP left the government on a very simple issue. The rights of Andhra Pradesh, which were given in the Act of Parliament, the assurances given by then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, and also by Narendra Modi during the election campaign, none of them are being fulfilled. Why do we need to support a government that is not fulfilling what we expect to be given our rights? We're not asking, we're demanding to fulfill our rights.
How do you resolve this dichotomy of fighting with the left in Kerala and wanting to be best friends with the left in West Bengal?
Well, we did this before in UPA 1 and 2. So we have experience in second.
So you have past experience of playing such games?
Not the games, Rahul. When it comes to state level, it's a different. Like the alliance is also happening at state level, state specific, depends on the state needs. When it comes to the national level, so we need to come together, all secular social parties. So the so-called myth of your saying Modi is not corrupt is not correct. Where does he getting the richest party in entire Asia is a BJP party? Where does they getting money? And you have seen how Amit Shah and son to Lalit and Nirav to the different mark of Modi's corruption is people are seeing through. In same own Hindi heartland where people have voted for Modi, they have seen through the real face of Modi and Amit Shah. Bade Miya, Chota Miya ka dekh rahe hain. So things are changing. They have seen through how corrupt the BJP regime under Modi is.
No, but there is a difference. As a political analyst, you realize that if the Congress had been ruling Madhya Pradesh or Chhattisgarh for the period of time that the BJP ruled these states, the results would have been way more one-sided. In 2013, when Ashok Gehlot lost Rajasthan, look at the manner in which you were decimated. Vasundhara has put up a far more credible performance. In Madhya Pradesh, for example, you won by 4,337 votes. So yes, there was anti-incumbency, but their performance was far more credible. When you were ruling a state last time for 15 years, how many seats did you get? 0.
We are seeing through those arithmetics, numbers, and we want to see that anti-BJP vote should not split. Like 2009, Congress has won without SP, BSP together 22 seats. So Congress did performed earlier. We have seen through where we went wrong, how we have down to 44. Now we're going to increase it. So Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, let's see how the BSP and SP made a difference of Congress sweeping through those states.
Would Mr. Stalin be willing to speak to the likes of Mayawati, Akhilesh, like Chandrababu Naidu is, trying to bring them all together against the BJP?
Most certainly, we all find ourselves increasingly on the same boat. Like I said, we are all parties which are, though limited to the state in which we operate in, we have a larger sort of understanding that the constitution is made of a very delicate secular federal fabric. And like I said, everything that we've seen has gone to rip this fabric apart in the last 4.5 years. So if we want the country to survive, and if you want the idea of India to be one that is inclusive, one that where there is actually cooperative federalism, not just in, in lip service, but also in practice, then these parties have a necessity to come together urgently.
Kovai Sathyan, they feel like they're in the same boat. Do you feel like you're on a sinking boat?
We certainly are not. We have proved by standing alone that without any coalition we can create success stories. After 32 years, we formed the government again in that place. When the entire nation was talking about some one individual's wave, we stood by and proved that it is wrong. Tamil Nadu is a different ballgame altogether. So we still have more time, but we have to understand whether whatever they are trying to serve under the platter in the name of constitutional protection, saving democracy and all, you have to see how the people are receiving it and how they are going to react to it in the coming days, in the forthcoming days and months.
Absolutely, and that's why the next 5 months are going to be so exciting. A lot of that excitement will be in these 5 southern states. We've had some very interesting perspectives. Thank you so much for joining us. One side is smiling and the other is not, but to be fair to Kovai, it was 3 versus 1 in some way, so we owe him a good lunch. We owe him a good lunch. Thank you very much for joining us.